Hey guys, this is Brian Barrera here. Sorry, I really thought I was gonna get that last video done in 15 minutes or less, but I didn't. But I just want to go through some slides with you that I wrote down. That, like I said, I was motivated, inspired by Belichick's system. But this was his running back game, his running game. First down, usually got 5 yards. Great route running, hitting the gaps. I put route running on there because it could be a wide receiver getting a call for the shotgun first down, which they did often. A lot of traditional teams, would just run the ball for the first down. But Belichick knew Brady. He knew his system. He knew the running backs were going to hit the gaps, or if they ran something, he knew their wide receivers were going to route run exceptionally well. Second down, they usually get about 5 yards. Second down, don't lose any yardage. That's the main goal for second down. Do not lose any yardage. You don't want a 3rd and 7. You don't want a 3rd and 10. 3rd and 5 is okay. 3rd and 4 is okay. It's manageable. He puts in the players where their drop percentage is very, very low. Puts in their elusive players as well. They're going to break tackles and get free a little bit so they can gain those yards. But the whole point is to not lose yards. That's what I saw second down. When it's 3rd and inches, right? They either get a first down, they plod, they get the first down, or they have really good pass protection, really good offensive linemen where they're able to go for a 20-yard pass on 3rd down because the defense wasn't expecting that. But that's what I see with Belichick's system. So the whole point I'm trying to make here is that, and now we're going to get into Brady a little bit. I have to say this right now. If you're in college football, this is my observation. This is the way I interpret things. College football to me is a system. The best head coaches in college football, Mike Krzyzewski, John Wooden, Deion Sanders, they create a system, and you have to follow that system. You're probably thinking, why am I putting Deion Sanders with John Wooden? John Wooden. I mean, incredible. Rest in peace. Incredible. I know that he won so many rings with so many national championships with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, made UCLA incredible. But in modern times, it's a lot harder to have that kind of dynasty, right? Even though we still see it sometimes. But I just think what Deion's done, Deion has just completely changed that organization so fast. He really has. And Travis Hunter, I'm a Jaguar fan. I know it's embarrassing, but I'm a Jaguar fan, hardcore Jaguar fan. Travis Hunter, I think, is really a secret that we have this year. I know he's a second string cornerback. I totally understand. But I think in the game, when he plays on defense, I think he's really going to change the Jaguars defense. Anyways, Travis Hunter, Shador Sanders, countless other great players that he brought to the system. He changed that organization. He changed that football team. But the reason why I bring that up is because the NCAA, the college, is a system. You have to build a strong system, and you have to follow that system. Nick Saban, just countless other coaches, even Urban Meyer. You have to build a system. That's why these colleges or these universities stay in power for so long, because they have a system. They hire their coaches for 10, 15, 20 years, in my opinion, more often than the NFL does. But the whole point I'm trying to make is that you have to have that system. The NFL to me is a system that you have to build around your players. The NFL, the NBA, the MLB, you have to build a system around your talent, around your players. Very different than the NCAA. NCAA, that's why I think Jim Harbaugh was so successful in Michigan. And I think that he is going to be successful with the Chargers, but I hate the Chargers. I think Herbert's amazing. I love that they signed Keenan Allen back again. I think Ladd McConkey's awesome. Omarion Hampton's going to take off this year. I think they're going to have a really good year. But did Jim Harbaugh learn his lesson? I think he was a great coach with Colin Kaepernick and the San Francisco 49ers. He was incredible. But I think they kind of figured him out after a while when it came to the running game, that he's going to run, 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 run. They kind of figured him out. He went to Michigan, tore it up. The system that he built, he tore it up. But now he's jumping back into the NFL. And the Chargers have Justin Herbert, which he's amazing. Great, great quarterback. But they're running it a lot. Are they going to put the ball in his hands a little bit more? Like, what are they going to do with him, right? So, what are they going to do with Justin Herbert? So, business is your product. In business, you have to build a system around your product. We'll go into that in another video. Right now, we're talking about Brady and Belichick. I don't want to get too far off. But so that's what I'm trying to tell you here. It's NCAA, that's a system. Professional sports, it's a system around your players, your best players. You have to build it based on their talents. Business is product. But let's jump back into the GOAT, attention to detail. Belichick, why he's the GOAT and why Brady's the GOAT is because Belichick built a flawless system around the best player in the NFL. The attention to detail that Brady has. There was instances in, like I said, I think it was Ian O'Connor's book or Ian Connor's book, where it talks about Bill Belichick and Tom Brady are the first ones in the tape room and then the last ones out the tape room. So they can not get along. That's fine. But they both know that they know their stuff. They both know they're going to both read the defense. They both know the rule book. They both know that they both know the playbook inside and out. They're looking at tape 24/7. That's where I believe they kind of meshed. Let's go back to the balanced scorecard where Belichick Kraft had to build that organization. Well, more Belichick, he had to create that organization. He had to. He had to create that foundation for the organization. And he just so happens to have the best quarterback that shares a lot of those insights, a lot of those gifts that Belichick has. He shares. I believe Brady was a little more outgoing, a little more empathetic or sympathetic. I always forget which one it is. Um, but that's what Brady is. Brady was the leader with the team. Belichick was the leader, in the tape room. It's crazy how I was reading this stuff and I'm seeing like they're both always in there. But then I found out this is where I was like sold. Belichick is the greatest. Brady's the greatest because he had the best coach, and Belichick's the greatest because he had the greatest player. And it was just, but they could have done a Shaq and Kobe. They could have stopped after 3 years. They could have left, but no, they stuck it out because they knew at the end of the day they both wanted to win, and they both knew that rule books and playbooks and tape was one of the most important things, if not the most important thing. Preparation is key. Jordan loved practice. Kobe loved working 24/7. Belichick and Brady loved the tape room. They loved the playbook, the rule books. Are you seeing a trend? They say that dedication and discipline beats talent 24/7. But what if you have both? That's what makes incredible. This is why I love talking about sports and business, because just because we're watching these legends, these titans, just because we're watching them doesn't mean they don't work 14, 15 hours a day. Look at Serena Williams. Venus was already tearing it up, but then Serena, little sister, comes on and just is even better. But look at what they did. Watch that movie King Richard and read their biographies and read their articles about them. How incredible, how much discipline and dedication they have, to the point where the dad had to make them go have fun and be kids still. Look at the dominance Serena had. I miss watching her play. Anyways, and I'm not a big tennis person, but Rafael Nadal, Federer, the Williams sisters, I love watching that stuff. But let's jump back to this. Look at what brings them together. Practice brought the players together, right? Fundamentals like Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant, that kind of stuff. The accuracy, Greg Popovich bringing in 3-point shooting specialists, and Kobe working with Hakeem, and all these other players to learn, and texting Jordan at 3 a.m. to learn about a move that he made. It all goes back to preparation. And I think that's what Belichick built the system around Brady for, was preparation. Attention to detail. He knows that Brady's all about precision. It's got a precise arm. It's all about timing, and his urgency makes him get rid of the ball in 3 seconds or less. But he needs wide receivers. Let's go back to the 5-tool employee framework, which, if you don't know about the 5-tool employee framework, it's based on the 5-tool baseball player, and you can read that and you can listen to that in any of my other videos. But for the context of this, look at his wide receivers. They're not tall. They're not athletic freaks, right? Deion Branch wasn't huge. Julian Edelman, Wes Welker, they were 5'9", 5'10". Chris Hogan, Amendola. I mean, Gronk was huge. But like, you have these players who are not your prototypical wide receivers. Why didn't the Patriots win with the best running back in the NFL? Why didn't they ever win with Randy Moss? It wasn't because, it was because they broke their system, is what I'm saying. Not the players. Belichick broke his system, his principles. And I think that's kind of what happened, is that if you look at this in detail, look at what the players are all about. Let's talk about the wide receivers. They know how to read the defense just like Brady does, because they watch tape with Brady. 24/7. They know the rule book because Belichick knows the rule book. So these small 5'10, 5'9 wide receivers, they know the rule book. They know that in 5 yards, they can push off still. They know in 5 yards, they could grab a little bit. They're not going to get in trouble. Or they know that this certain referee is not going to let them. This referee is going to call it in 5 yards. So you got to push off at fourth and inches or four and 4 yards, before you get to that line. But that's what you have to do. That they know the refs, what each ref's going to call, what they're not. They know the playbook. They know how the play opens up. They know that because of their route running and because they know the playbook, that if Brady's not looking at them and they're running their route, they're not going to give up. They know even though Brady's not looking at them, they still have to run their 7 yards and fade out. And that ball's going to be there because Brady's that precise and he believes that much in timing. That's what's going to happen. He's still going to get it there. And he needs wide receivers who believe to finishing that route because even though Brady's not looking, when they're done with that route, that ball's going to be right there. Which also means their drop percentage cannot be high. It has to be extremely low. Those are the 5 things I saw in all of Brady's wide receivers and tight end. They read the defense with him. They're in the tape room with him 24/7. They know the rule book because they know it. Brady knows it. Belichick knows it. They know the playbook inside and out. They have to because if a botch play happens, what happens after that? The drop percentage has to be low and their route running has to be crisp and elite. Those are the players that Tom Brady attracts. Those are the players that Belichick goes after. And Belichick, knowing his system inside and out, knows he can get them in free agency or off the waiver wire. He doesn't have to draft them. He could get them undrafted as long as they fit exactly what he needs, what Brady needs. Belichick knows what Brady needs. He knows where to get them. They're not high price free agents. They're not high price trade deadline trades. They're not. He can get them in the waiver wire. He can get them in the offseason at peanuts on the dollar. He can get them in undrafted. Does not matter. That's why they won so much. Now, let's talk about the running game, right? So that's it. This is Brady. Brady is the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. His precision, his timing, his urgency, his accuracy is what makes him who he is. Mahomes, why is Mahomes so incredible? Brady's all about timing, precision. It's all the same thing. Brady's all about precision. That's his thing. He has just enough of everything, but he's very, very precise in the form of the rule book, the playbook, tape, reading defenses. That's Brady's thing. He's precise. Mahomes, Mahomes can go from sideline to sideline, and he always knows where the line of scrimmage is. We talked about tight ends yesterday. That's why Kelsey always follows him. Kelsey follows him from sideline to sideline, always looking at him. He's that one player that's always looking at him. Brady always had a Gronk. Brady had Edelman. Brady had even Amendola a little bit. Wes Welker, Deion Branch. You see what I'm saying? Brady had a plethora of them, and that's why I believe Bill Belichick's the greatest coach of all time because he knew how to get those players for Brady, which is why Brady had 2 dynasties. I also believe that Andy Reid's doing the same thing. That's why he let Tyreek Hill go a few years ago because he knew he didn't want to pay him that big contract. He wanted to pay his quarterback on defense, which was Chris Smith or Chris Jones. I forgot his name. Sorry. And I don't edit these things. They're raw and uncut. I want you to know me, know how many mistakes I make as well. But that's what Andy Reid does. He wanted to save that money for his quarterback on defense. He wanted to save that money. He didn't have the money to pay Tyreek Hill. But instead, look at the players he drafts. He pretty much drafts the same players. And he also has a running back committee approach too. He has Isaiah Pacheco, right? That's his plotter. He also has Kareem Hunt, who he's brought back twice already. Kareem Hunt is his more elusive running back. Then he has a pass catching running back as well. Sometimes it's also Pacheco, but he has other players. Look at the players he drafts though. Xavier Worthy. He got Hollywood Brown at an incredible deal. He was hurt last year, didn't play, but he got Hollywood Brown at an incredible deal. Fresh off his stints with the Cardinals and the Ravens. But Hollywood Brown wanted to play for the Chiefs. He gave them a team-friendly deal. Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy. There's other people he's drafted, Juju Smith-Schuster, all kind of the same vertical threats because Mahomes is so good, especially him and Rodgers. When there's offsides, they know they get a free play. They know they're going to go for it. They do that a few times a game, not once a game. They do that a few times a game because they know the game that well. They know when they're getting a free play and they're just going to do a long pass. So they need those vertical threats. But that's why they have Kelsey right in the middle. That's why they had Gronk right in the middle. But once again, Belichick had all kinds of players who just kept their eyes on the quarterback and didn't give up on plays. Or in his certain scenario, they were great route runners, and Brady was that precise. But with Mahomes going side to side, he needs those players that can go side to side with him and are also deep vertical threats. You look at Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence, even though I'm a Jaguar fan, I think they're going to have a great year this year. To me, great is 9-8. That's a great year for me as a Jaguars fan. Is going 9-8 or maybe 8-9. But I think Trevor Lawrence right now. I think Brenton Strange is a very